Today I got another brand new release from Godox. This is the Godox ML100Bi or Bi, whichever name sounds best for you. This is a very compact light, very lightweight, and it is specially designed for videographers, cinematographers on the go for the run and gun type of thing. And also can be even ideal for wedding filmmakers, especially at the time that you actually place these lights high on a dance floor. It's going to require very little power from this light because, to me, the most useful and important thing with this kit here is this 15-degree reflector that does not require you to actually always turn on this light to 100%. And more details on this light in a little bit. Before I proceed with this video, just so you know, to get this out of the way, this video is actually being sponsored by Instro. Instro is a company that it is an authorized Godox reseller, and they also sell other brands as well. Whether a video is sponsored or not in this channel, that does not change a thing. My agreement with them is I will always continue to do the review that I do here. Nothing gets interfered, such as approvals before I publish. I get full control of what I'm going to do or say here, and all my words and opinions, they are my own and always an honest review. Even though by the name this light technically is supposed to be a 100 watt light because it is the Godox ML100Bi, this is actually a 120 watt light. The DC power adapter is also rated as 120 watts. The same way my Godox M600Bi is a 740 watt light instead of 600 watts. The material of this light is similar to a technopolymer plastic or ABS plastic, whichever one of the two they don't specify, but this is actually entirely made of plastic, and it is actually very lightweight, especially for people that want to travel with this light or hiking or whatever. Any accessory you attach here, it actually feels great. There's no resistance, and there's a little bit of a play as it is expected with most Bowens, similar Bowens mount adapters. And to release, you just press this red button and it's out. The first thing that I actually like to see when I unbox this light is the compatibility with older Godox lights. For example, I already have the ML30 and the ML60, which means you don't need to buy any special adapters to use the older accessories that you have with the brand new ML100Bi. As you can see, this is the actual ML30 reflector. It's the same exact mount, so it requires no special adapters. However, if you want to use a softbox, a full-size softbox, you can. When I received this light, it was 20 days before the release of this product, and they didn't have the actual adapter to ship to me. It wasn't in stock, but this is actually a very simple adapter. You simply connect the adapter here and the softbox on the other side. The softbox size that I recommend for a 100 watt light will be something like 24, 26, 28 inches, you know, something like this here, not something this huge. For that, you want at least a 300 watt light to be making sense using a softbox that big. And to use this light without a softbox to make the light source even bigger without having to deal with the 2 layers of diffusion of a softbox, you can actually shine on a frame or any diffusion material that you have to make the light source bigger. At the bottom of the light, you'll find a 1/4 thread, which is deep enough to what I can see for most things that you want to screw in here. And it also comes included with this light stand adapter. This whole thing is made of metal. I also like this blue washer here that I've seen on some Auri lights. So I'm actually just tightening a little bit, and I'm trying to make this move here. You can't. So pretty much any modifier or whatever it is that you want to mount here, it's going to take it. And also to tilt is very nice because you don't have the annoyance of those teeth. Everything is smooth, as you can see, and you can also tilt a full 180 degrees, as you can see here. So this whole thing is perfect, except the fact that sometimes, depending on the light stand that you use, you might notice that this knob is going to be in the way of this one, which can be an annoyance. As you can see, they hit each other. So you cannot pull this out, so you have to be a little bit creative. So you might have to untighten this knob temporarily to adjust this here, and then you tighten it back. This light stand adapter also comes with an umbrella mount, so if you have an umbrella, you can certainly use it with this light. And you also notice that this light stand adapter that comes included with this product, you can also use the old ML30 or ML60 accessories, such as this one here that attaches a battery and all, is the same exact mount here. So whichever accessory that you have, you can actually combine it with all these lights. This light comes with Bluetooth, and the wireless range is 98.4 feet or 30 meters, and it weighs 1.1 pounds or 487 grams, and the temperature ranges from 2800 Kelvin to 6500 degrees Kelvin. And the brightness is adjustable from 0% in 1% increments to 100%. The way it is here without anything in front of this LED, the lux is 3670 lux at 3.3 meters at 5600 degrees Kelvin. Now with this reflector here, which is a 15-degree reflector, as you can see, has a little bit of a some sort of a tip of a Fresnel design here. This is designed to reach far away subjects, and this is going to be the primary way I'm going to be using this light. So when you actually install this little reflector here, it's going to jump from 3,670 lux to an impressive 34,300 lux just by attaching this reflector here. Now if you want like a softer light and all, of course you're going to have to use a softbox. So when you remove this reflector and put a regular softbox here, chances are that you're going to have to crank this up maybe to 100% in most situations, especially if this light is at a decent distance. Now this reflector here to me is the best accessory they can possibly use with this light. This is actually great for wedding cinematographers because again, you can actually place this light all the way on top, especially those venues they have upstairs, right? With a super clamp here, you probably want to use this light probably 8%, 4%, especially if you guys shoot at f2.8 or f1.4. This is gonna last like all night. And this light, for being a 120 watt light, if you use a 120 watt V-mount battery here, for example, of course it's gonna run 1 hour. And if you run this light at 50%, it's gonna run about 2 hours. 25%, 4 hours. Now here's the test that I really wanted to show you guys. Right now I'm actually 26 feet away from the light. As you can see, the light is right there with the reflector, the 15-degree reflector installed, and there are zebras all over my face, which right now is what I want because the more overexposed I am, the better. So the point is to show how bright this light can get without cranking it up to 100%. So at that distance, the light is cranked up to 100% to show you guys what's going on. Right now I'm shooting at ISO 800, the aperture is f4, the shutter is 1/60th of a second, and the frame rate is 30. Right now my meter shows a reading of f4.9, which is technically f5.6, which is a whole stop brighter than what it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to expose myself to f4. Currently the f-stop is 5.6, as you can see right here. So I'm going to back it up and measure here. Is reading f4.5. Then like here, reading about 4.3 and 4.2. So f4, so that's another 10 feet here. So that's actually a big advantage of having something that small and that powerful that throws a lot of light. So I'm going to be using this light for that purpose. A light with a softbox, you know, any light can do it. Just put a softbox in front, and the quality of the light depends how big the softbox is, the quality of the diffusion materials and all that stuff. All you need to do is to buy the optional Bowens adapter for that light if you want to use a softbox. But I'm going to be primarily using this light for this purpose right here. I want a small compact light to be able to reach something at a far distance. So the light is still right there, with the exception that I actually removed the reflector, and you can see the huge difference. And right now my light meter is reading f2.5. Right now the subject is 40 feet away from this camera and this light. This light is placed right here with a bell bulb, and I'm shooting at ISO 640, 1/60th of a second, f2.8, and zooming in, this is what you get, right? Now I'm going to be installing the reflector. Look what happens. Then I'm going to zoom out. There's like zebras everywhere on the curtain and everything. So at that distance, you get this 100%. And of course, if you want to place the light closer, let's place it right here. Aim it right at her, and let's set this to, I don't know, maybe 10%. And let's see what happens. And there you have it. Same thing, ISO 640, when this thing focus, right? There you go, ISO 640, f2.8, 1/60th of a second, 30 frames per second. Then when you place it over here, you can probably set it to probably 4%. Let's see what we get. It's about 10-ish feet from her. I still see the zebras on her face. So I even have to adjust here, like f3.5 and stuff. So that reflector is awesome. You can shoot everything with not so much power. There are 3 ways to purchase this light. The one that comes in a cardboard box with the bare minimum accessories. This is the 15-degree reflector. You can always buy the 36-degree reflector separately anytime at B&H, Amazon, anywhere you want. Or you can actually purchase the kit 1, which comes with these accessories here, and also the kit 2, which comes with these accessories right there. Which, by the way, I have an affiliated link with B&H and Amazon. If you guys want to use my affiliated links, it doesn't cost you anything extra. All it tells them is that you guys bought something from me, and I receive a small commission. The standard option, there will be no case for it. It just comes in a regular cardboard box. There's the manual, and here's the light itself. An included DC 20 volts, 120 watt power supply. a power cord. This power cord is about 10 feet long or 3 meters. Light stand adapter. This reflector here is a combination of a reflector plus a tiny little bit of a hint of a Fresnel here. And lastly, comes with the LED protector. And these lights can be used for soft light or also used as a kicker light, as an accent light, as an edge light, as a spotlight, whatever it is that you can do with this light, you can do. If you're the type of shooter that shoots international or cross-country, as long as TSA approves your Pelican case by the weight and the size or whatever, you can fit several of these lights carrying everything into a single case. If you need effects, I'm not really the type of guy that uses a lot of effects, but this light comes with 11 effects such as flash, lightning, cloudy, broken bulb, TV, candle, fire, fireworks, explosion, welding, and SOS. On the right side of the light, you can use the included DC adapter 20 volts, 120 watts, or a USB PD power delivery, and that depends on the type of power bank that you have, because otherwise the light is going to limit the brightness output. Only connected the actual DC adapter that comes included with any of these kits here, that's going to allow 100%, or if you have a super USB PD power bank that will allow the current than this light needs. Now there are two types of V-mount batteries. The ones that most of you guys know are the 14.8 volt V-mount batteries. Don't use the 26 volt V-mount batteries because in seconds you're going to fry the board of this light. Those batteries are designed for high-powered lights or the high-end lights. If you don't have a V-mount battery and this is the first time that you're actually purchasing a V-mount battery, or if you're on a budget, I highly recommend that you buy a V-mount battery that it is at least capable of delivering 130 watts because this is a 120 watt light cranked up to 100%. But again, for a small battery such as this one here, you might be very limited in the power delivery with this light. And yes, of course, you can use the Sony batteries like everybody does. As you can see, it's the same cable that connects to this light, so the whole thing is interchangeable, either with this light or the ML30 or 60. The maximum rate will be 96 watt hours, competing with a 120 watt draw from this light. Now keep in mind that the Sony batteries type of deal, they are primarily designed for camcorders for a slow draw. So every time you use a high power light or device like this here, cranked up to 100%, you're going to deteriorate faster the cells of the Sony batteries. This is what happens when you actually have your Sony batteries loaded in here against a 120 watt light, right? Cranked up to 100%, that's not going to happen. So right now I'm at 0%, and then 2%, 60, 75%, 76%, the light is out. 97%, forget about it. See, that's not possible. That's going to take a huge amount of stress on your battery cell. So again, use the V-mount battery via D-tap, and with the USB power adapter, you still need some sort of a cord, and for portability, it's got to be a V-mount via D-tap. That's the best option that I see. In this scenario, I have a 99 watt hour battery and it's connected via the USB PD power delivery, and as you turn up the brightness, it will be limited to a maximum of 40%, as you can see, due to the capability of the PD delivery of this battery. Depending on the type of battery or power bank that you use for this particular application via the USB PD, you might get more or less than this. In this scenario here, I have a very fancy USB PD delivery power supply, and it reads here the voltage, the amps, and the watts. And this is capable of delivering a maximum load simultaneously of 200 watts. And even then, there will be a limitation as soon as you turn on the light. So right now it's at 0%. It will be a maximum of 85%, even though it reads 100 watts right here. But right now it's showing 20 volts, 4.1 amps at 82 watts right here. So this is what happens when you actually use a PD power delivery such as this one here, and you still don't get 100%. However, when you plug in on the D-tap, it will give you 100%. Another tip for you, never turn on cold an LED to 100% or 80%. Make sure before you power it off to go all the way down to 0% or somewhere 10% or whatever, and then you power it off. And if the fan is on, also let it run a little bit to be able to cool off the lights. And also the cables that I use, they are capable of delivering 100 watts. Right now I have the same little 99 watt hour battery, and to your surprise, when you connect via D-tap, it will let you crank it up all the way to 100%. Just in case you want to know what's holding the V-mount batteries on my light stand, this item is actually very easily found on Amazon B&H. It's simply a V-mount clip that clamps on your light stand. The V-mount battery that I highly recommend that you use, make sure it is at least 130 watt hour battery, because again, this is a 120 watt light. So when you actually crank this up to 100%, it's going to be taking less stress on the battery. And of course, the more watt hours you have, the more fun you're going to have with these lights, right? So in this case, for example, here 160 divided by 120 watts, it's going to give you 1.3 hours. If you lower the intensity to 50%, of course, you multiply by 2, it's going to give you 2.6 hours of runtime with this battery. This light is made of plastic, and I can see many people taking this outdoors, and it's not waterproof. Don't take this in the rain or snow because there are openings here for the heat vents and all. But when you take it outdoors, you notice there is a protective glass element right in front of the LED bulb, so bugs will not crawl and burn or stain your LED or damage it at all. So this glass will stop that from happening. You probably noticed that a lot of manufacturers, they're actually making lights like this shape here, some sort of a hard drive shape, and they all come with this yellow bright sticker saying caution high temperature. That's because they don't want you to accidentally burn your finger here, which can easily happen, or if you actually answer your phone call and accidentally leave the light on like this, you're gonna burn the table and cause fire. That doesn't mean even if you crank this up to 100% for 3 hours, this is not gonna burn your hands here or in the back of the light, only here. It's still going to be fairly warm, close to over 100, 110, maybe 15, 115 degrees, but it's not going to burn your hand, only here, and also be careful not to do that with the light on. There are 2 fans on the back of the light. Depending on what you do and what kind of environment you are placing this light, you can actually hear or not hear the fan, especially if you crank this up to 100%, and here's the test that I did. Now let's do a fan noise test. I'm literally standing about 10 inches from the fan, and here's what it sounds like at 100% at 5600 degrees Kelvin. Now again, I'm going to be turning the fan that way because the subject is going to be right here, and usually at a minimum distance of 4 feet, I would say, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 feet, I'm right here. So it sounds like that. Another 2 feet back here. So in most cases, you're not going to have any problem with this fan because there's always a little noise. If you are in a total silent room, that could be a chance that you can actually hear the fan. Right now I set the light to 0% about 3 minutes ago, and the fan is still kicking the same way it was with the light at 100% brightness, so it takes a little bit of time to actually decrease the RPM on the fan. Now here's what the fan sounds like with the light set to a 50% brightness, and occasionally it actually turns off, as you can hear. Right now there's no fan. And when it turns on, it's almost as loud as the 100% brightness. A little bit less, but almost there. So to what I can see, this fan is going to activate and deactivate every minute or so at 50%. And turning it down to 25%, this fan should hardly come on, especially at a temperature of 71 degrees, which is not that cold or not too warm. So with the light at 25%, I don't think you're going to have any problem whatsoever. If the fan kicks in, it's not going to be as loud, and it will take longer to turn on. So the reason why I'm doing this long fan noise test here, because everybody wants to see what the fan does on every single light. There you go, it kicked back in at 25%. Let me step back here, 1, 2, 3, 4 feet. So I can still hear the fan faintly with my ear, but when the subject is talking, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all, especially at the distance right there. So that concludes my fan noise test. I hope that was useful. The only thing I don't like about this light is because the display is so small and it's very difficult to read the numbers. But if you actually control using the app, that's not a problem. But if you try to read at a distance these numbers here, good luck with that. So right now I'm going to connect the light and to show you guys how easy it is to connect to the Godox Light app. So right now, all you have to do is to click on the bottom here, the plus sign, and then new scenario, which you can also rename, hit done. Click here, and then click on the plus sign on the bottom, and then add fixtures, and then click here, confirm. It takes a few seconds, actually more than a few seconds. There you go. Then the light is ready to use. You can actually power it on, power it off. And here's the color temperature from 2800 Kelvin to 65. You also notice that you have shortcuts right here, and the intensity is at the bottom. Now before you go to the effects mode, make sure you are selecting the correct color temperature, because I'm going to be using the candle light. Now I'll go to the effects mode and choose the candle. You can also adjust the speed to low or very fast, and also the intensity. To exit, press this arrow, and CCT, you're back here. Now to disconnect the light, press the arrow again here, and then you click on the 3 dots, disconnect, the light is removed. The knobs and buttons of this light, they actually feel okay, and this is not made of rubber, so when you're actually making adjustments, when your cameras are rolling, they will feel rather clicky, as you can hear. So this might be a problem or not during the take. This knob to adjust values, you can actually scroll or push it in, and again, you can hear a little bit of a noise. So the air intake is obviously here, and the heat comes from the top and the bottom. And don't forget, this LED protector is transparent, it's not made of silicone, and you can easily forget this here, especially with the light at 100%, so try not to. Here's a quick demo of the bare bulb, what it does on the background there. As you can see, it floods very well and very even. And with the 15-degree reflector installed, as you can see, the exposure kind of quadruples, right? So let me adjust this here. And this is what it does now. And here is the very corner of the light. As you can see, there are no weird colors or no fringing effects. And the same thing, when you install the reflector, everything seems to be clean on the corners. And this is the reflector at 1%. It's already blowing up right here. Right now I'm going to show you guys here something that's actually very nice to have in this light. The exposure will not be altered from 6500 degrees Kelvin all the way down to 4000 or 4300 degrees Kelvin. So right now I'm shooting at ISO 800 and the shutter is 1/60th. None of this matters right now. The only thing that matters is the f-stop not to change. So let's make a test here. The light is actually 1 meter from the wall, which also doesn't matter right now. So the readings that I'm having here is about f11. 8.9 is technically f11. Now I'm going to be changing the color temperature all the way down to 4300 degrees Kelvin, and the reading is 8.8. It's roughly 0.1 of an f-stop. And then when you go down here to like 3200, and then that's when you have a little bit of a fall, 8.5. And at 2800 Kelvin, we have 8.1. So anything here from 4300 degrees Kelvin to 6500 degrees Kelvin, your exposure will not change, which is great. I don't like when a light is set to 4300 degrees Kelvin when all LEDs are turned on at the same time, and then this thing gets like a whole f-stop or full stop brightness. This is not going to happen with this light. Right now I have the light with bare bulb at 5600 degrees Kelvin set to 100%, and the ISO currently is 800. Let's see what kind of readings that we have. f11.5. Now let's see what happens with the reflector. Now the same thing, light set to 5500 degrees Kelvin, 100%, and the readings will jump to f32.2, 32.3. So it went from 11.5 to 32.5 f-stop. And again, at 4300 degrees Kelvin, the reading still is 32.2, 32.3. And that's the end of my review. I hope you found the contents helpful. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Please drop them down in the comment section. I'll try to respond to everything that I see there. So once again, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.